In 1998, Monica Lewinsky couldn't leave her apartment without cameras following her. Every late-night host mocked her. Every newspaper printed her name. She was offered fortune after fortune to tell her story. One interview alone paid her $1 million. Her book deal was worth $500,000. But something strange happened. The money disappeared almost as fast as it came. Today, her bank account holds a number that doesn't match her fame. And the reason why changes everything you thought you knew. On July 23, 1973, Monica Lewinsky came into the world in San Francisco. Her father, Bernard Lewinsky, was a wealthy cancer doctor. His family had escaped the Nazis in the 1920s, first fleeing to El Salvador, then to the U.S. when Bernard was just 14. On her mother's side, things were just as unusual. Monica's grandfather was a Lithuanian Jew. Her grandmother was born in China in the British-controlled city of Xiamen to Russian Jewish parents. These roots were filled with survival and reinvention, and Monica would carry that energy forward. Her mother, Marcia Lewis, wasn't just a homemaker. She chased fame too, writing a book in 1996 about the free tennis. It was clear from the beginning this was a family tied to celebrity, ambition, and scandal. She grew up in Beverly Hills inside a Spanish-style mansion worth $1.6 million in the 1980s. Her dad's clinic brought in $37,000 a month. That's over $400,000 a year. They spent big $20,000 a year on vacations, drove Cadillacs and Mercedes, and went to the symphony. Monica's own expenses were outrageous for a team. $720 a month for tennis lessons, $300 for a babysitter, $100 just for her hair. She went to elite schools, first Sinai Akiba, then John Thomas D.Y. in Bear. Her classmates were children of Hollywood producers. Kids got luxury cars for their 16th birthdays. It was a dream world. But behind the gates, things were breaking. Everything collapsed when Monica was 14. Her parents' marriage blew apart in 1987. The divorce was vicious. Marcia accused her husband of cheating and even buying gifts for his mistress from Tiffany and Louis Vuitton. There were violent outbursts. Monica heard her father yell things like, "You're a moron." He banned the kids from speaking at dinner. The therapy bills alone were $1,800 a month. Monica had her own sessions costing $700 to $60. Years later, caught on tape, she admitted, "I was brought up with lies. I have lied my entire life." It wasn't just a broken home. It was emotional chaos, and it planted a dangerous seed. Monica learned early how power, pain, and dishonesty can become twisted together. At school, Monica tried to escape into theater. She joined a tight-knit drama group and found comfort there. But when their drama teacher died by suicide, it hit her hard. She transferred out of Beverly Hills High and went to Bear Prep, an expensive school known for taking in troubled, rich kids. It cost $12,000 a year and only had 7 seniors. Monica was one of them. She dove into choir, art, and drama, eventually becoming valedictorian. Her yearbook hinted at her ambitions. She quoted Ezra Pound and Dr. Seuss. Her classmates thought she'd be famous one day. They were right, but no one predicted what came next. When Monica was 19, she began a 5-year affair with her former high school drama teacher. His name was Andy Blur. He was 40, married with kids. Monica followed him all the way to Portland, Oregon, when she started college at Lewis and Clark. Incredibly, Blur moved his whole family there, too. Monica even babysat for them while still sleeping with him. She was friends with his wife. The situation was twisted. Blur's lawyer later said Monica was obsessed with sex and had a habit of exaggerating things to boost her own image. Before leaving for Washington, D.C., she told the Blys, "I'm going to the White House to get my presidential knee pads." She would call Blur up to 5 times a day. Even while getting involved with President Clinton, she kept reporting everything back to Andy, venting that Clinton only wanted oral sex. The pattern was clear. Monica sought power, danger, and validation from older men who were already taken. At Lewis and Clark, Monica studied psychology. It made sense. She was fascinated with people, emotions, and control. She even dreamed of working for the FBI. Ironically, she later said, "I did work with the FBI as a federal target." She had a loud, friendly personality. Professors said she was the kind of person who'd start talking to you out of nowhere. But friends noticed something darker. She couldn't keep secrets. She gossiped. She openly talked about the affair with Blur. The stress drove her to therapy. She was trying to understand herself even as she kept spiraling. She graduated in 1995 at age 22 with a degree in psychology. Despite everything, She made the dean's list. In her final year, she juggled 3 jobs. She sold ties at a downtown kiosk. She did a practicum at a mental health center, though she didn't do well there. And she interned at a legal aid group where she compiled data to help people avoid jail time. Her heart seemed to be in the right place. She wanted to help others. She just didn't know how to help herself. Then came the twist of fate. 1 month after graduating, Monica landed an unpaid internship at the White House. She got the job through a powerful friend of her mother's, a Democratic donor. The internship was in the office of Leon Panetta, Clinton's chief of staff. She had no political experience, no special qualifications, just a degree and the right connections. In November 1995, most White House staff was sent home when the federal government shut down for a week, but unpaid interns like Monica Lewinsky were asked to stay. She had just started working there a little over a month before, but now she was one of the few people left in the West Wing. That's when the president began showing up more often. With most staff gone, Bill Clinton walked into the chief of staff's office regularly, and that's where he started to notice her. She was just 22. He was 49. Over the next few days, she caught his eye again and again. One moment stood out. At a small birthday party, Lewinsky noticed her underwear straps were visible above her pants. She saw him looking and she chose not to adjust them. Later, Clinton called her into an office. Her heart, she said, was pounding. People noticed. One advisor even joked she was getting more FaceTime with the president than most senior staff. Others were disturbed. The attention wasn't subtle, and soon staff began quietly looking for ways to move her out of the building. But it was too late. On November 15, 1995, just days after that birthday party, Lewinsky entered the White House around 1:30 in the afternoon. She left briefly, came back at 5:07 p.m., and didn't leave until 12:18 a.m. The president was there, too. His schedule lined up almost exactly. That night, their relationship began. He was old enough to be her father, the most powerful man in the world. She was a junior intern. And what happened between them that night would change both of their lives and American politics forever. Over the next 18 months, there would be 9 documented sexual encounters. Most happened in or near the Oval Office, even in George Stephanopoulos' office. One time he unbuttoned her dress from her neck to her ankles. Another time he recited her phone numbers from memory. They shared more than physical encounters. There were gifts, lots of them. She gave him designer ties, books, a Sherlock Holmes game, and even frog-themed items. He gave her cigars, poetry books, and stuffed animals from Martha's Vineyard. One gift was especially personal, a framed photo of himself wearing a tie she had given him. He called her late at night, left messages on her answering machine. Said he missed her, said he wished she was home when he called. There were at least 3 of these calls recorded. On one of them, Lewinsky was with her friend Linda Tripp, who later realized it had been the president on the other end of the line. Lewinsky became emotionally attached. She believed she was special, chosen. Then came the blue dress. On February 28, 1997, during one of their final encounters, Clinton ejaculated on her navy blue dress during oral sex. She didn't notice. She wore the dress to dinner that same night. Months later, she thought about wearing it again to Thanksgiving. That's when she discovered the stain. Linda Tripp urged her not to get it cleaned. She called it an insurance policy, and she told her the dress made her look really fat just to keep her from wearing it again. That dress became the most important piece of evidence in the case. When Lewinsky finally handed it over in July 1998, the FBI confirmed the DNA matched the president. Denial was no longer possible, but even before that, staff had already tried to separate them. In April 1996, Deputy Chief of Staff Evelyn Lieberman transferred Lewinsky to the Pentagon. Officially, it was because of her inappropriate behavior and poor work performance. Unofficially, it was because she was spending too much time near the president. But their affair didn't stop. For months, they kept talking on the phone. No more physical meetings, but the emotional grip didn't loosen. They even had phone sex. Monica still hoped Clinton might leave his wife for her. In May 1997, he ended it. But the way he did it crushed her. According to the Star report, he told her he had hundreds of affairs earlier in his marriage, but had tried to be faithful since turning 40. That's when she realized she had been just one more in a long line. At the Pentagon, Monica met Linda Tripp. Monica was 23. Tripp was over 20 years older. She had worked at the White House, too, and knew the world Monica had just been pulled out of. At first, she acted like a mother figure. Monica, fragile and heartbroken, clung to her. She opened up, poured her heart out, and trusted Linda with the one secret she couldn't share with anyone else: the affair. But Linda wasn't who she seemed. Behind Monica's back, Tripp began secretly recording their phone calls. She taped more than 20 hours of conversations over several months. Monica never suspected a thing. She spoke openly, even emotionally. She told Linda everything. How Clinton treated her, how confused she was, how badly she wanted to believe he cared. The calls revealed the chaos in her mind, including moments where she said, "I can't take it anymore. It's too much for one person." Tripp didn't stop there. She worked with investigators for over 100 hours, going through tapes, notes, and details with Kenneth Starr's legal team. She was building a case not just against Clinton, but using Monica's own words as the evidence. Then came January 1998. Monica signed an affidavit denying any sexual relationship with Clinton. It was a lie meant to protect him in the Paula Jones case. That case had been going on since 1994 and was now reaching its boiling point. Monica wasn't just covering up a scandal. She was committing perjury, and she wasn't doing it alone. She begged Linda to lie too. She called her over and over, asking her to protect the president. Tripp didn't agree. She went to the FBI and she gave them everything. By January 1998, she handed over all the tapes to independent counsel Kenneth Starr. Then, just to be sure, she wore a wire during one last lunch with Monica at a mall in Virginia. That final conversation sealed it. Tripp told ABC News later, "I wanted this relationship exposed in the biggest way." She claimed she was doing it for the public, that it was Clinton who had been cruel. But the fallout hit Monica the hardest. The tapes launched Clinton's impeachment. They led to a $90,000 fine and a 5-year suspension of his law license. They dragged Monica's private life into every newspaper, talk show, and late-night joke in America. On January 26, 1998, President Bill Clinton stood at a White House podium next to his wife, Hillary. With the cameras rolling and the world watching, he looked straight ahead and said clearly, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky." He repeated it again slowly. "These allegations are false," he added before ending with, "I need to go back to work for the American people." It sounded confident. It sounded final, but it wasn't the truth. He never said her first name. He just called her that woman. At 24, Monica Lewinsky had been reduced to a political threat, not a person. Clinton's team had carefully shaped every word. The phrase sexual relations was defined in such a narrow way, it didn't include oral sex. So technically, he wasn't lying, at least not by legal standards. But to millions of Americans, and especially to Monica, it was a brutal betrayal. And it was just the beginning. The scandal exploded 9 days earlier on January 17, 1998, when the Drudge Report leaked the story. Almost overnight, Monica became one of the most talked about women in America. But not in a good way. Cameras lined the streets outside her building. Journalists followed her everywhere. She was trapped inside her mother's apartment, only allowed out for doctor's visits and short supervised walks. Her clothing was dissected. Her movements were tracked. Her name was mocked nightly by comedians. She later said, "I was arguably the most humiliated person in the world." It wasn't an exaggeration. This all happened in the early days of the internet. Social media didn't exist yet, but the online world was already cool. Lewinsky became the first public figure to experience digital shaming on a global scale. And behind the scenes, it was even worse. The White House had a plan. Make Monica look crazy. Officials close to Clinton painted her as obsessed, unstable, delusional.